Hi, this is Jack with Fragment, the world's leading provider of immigration services. And today I'm continuing a series exploring Canadian immigration pathways for international students after graduation. If you find this video helpful or would like to stay updated with more immigration content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. You can also follow Fragment on our other social media platforms linked on our profile. So today we'll be focusing on the post-graduation work permit. So let's first start with the basics. What is a post-graduation work permit, or a PGWP for short? This is a work permit for someone who has graduated from a public college or university. Who can get a PGWP? Well, that depends on what type of institution you are graduating from. For graduates of a public college, you will need to graduate from a labor program that is on a labor shortage list. For graduates of a four-year university, a minimum score in a recognized language exam of one of Canada's official languages, English or French, is necessary. How long is a PGWP? Well, it can be issued between 8 months to 3 years, which we'll be going into a little more detail later. And why is a PGWP important? Well, it's a stepping stone to PR, and we'll go into this a little more detail as well. So now that we know a little bit more about the PGWP, let's see how someone can qualify for this work permit. Generally, to qualify, one must graduate from a PGWP eligible designated learning institution and have maintained full-time status as a student in Canada during each semester of studies. There are some exceptions. This would include some accelerated programs, some distance learning programs depending on when you were in school, any authorized leave from the school of up to 150 days, studies completed overseas for credit, graduates of certain Quebec schools, as well as students who transferred between designated learning institutions. To continue on with the qualification criteria, you will also need proof of graduation, such as official transcripts. So, as a heads up, this could mean there could be a delay in your ability to submit an application between the time your last exam ends and when your official transcript is ready. Now be careful. You must apply for PGWP within 180 days after you graduate, and your study permit must have been valid at some point during the 180 days after you graduated. That being said, if you want to work immediately after you file a PGWP, your study permit must be valid on the day you file your PGWP application. Now, at least 50% of the program must have been completed in class in Canada. And finally, you must demonstrate English or French language proficiency through a designated testing agency, scoring a minimum of CLB or NCLC 7 for graduates of university programs, or CLB and NCLC 5 for graduates of college or non-university programs. One common question that comes up with a PGWP application is how long a PGWP might be issued until, the duration. The duration of a PGWP will depend on the level of study, and it's usually issued to the length of an applicant's passport, or the duration of their studies, whichever is sooner. If your passport expires sooner than your PGWP eligibility, you'll only be issued a PGWP to the length of your passport. But if you do get your passport renewed, you may be able to recover whatever time you did not get on your PGWP with another application. Programs less than 8 months in duration are not eligible at all for a PGWP, and students graduating from master's degree programs of less than 2 years or 8 months minimum may qualify for a 3-year PGWP. Now, for programs that are at least 8 months but less than 2 years, a PGWP may be valid for the length of the study program. So if you have a 9-month program, you might get a 9-month PGWP. And in the case you have graduated from multiple programs, and if you've completed more than one eligible program, you may receive a PGWP that combines the lengths of each program, and each program must be at least 8 months long. So you found out you qualify and you filed your application. What happens next? As mentioned above, if you filed your PGWP application before your study permit expires, you can work as soon as it is filed and as long as the study permit is valid. Just be careful, if the application is refused, you must stop working. A note that a PGWP cannot be extended, and to remain in Canada beyond a PGWP expiry, you will need to either find an alternative work permit category or obtain permanent residence. Now, speaking of permanent residence, a PGWP does provide Canadian experience points for express entry, depending on the occupational code your job falls under. However, as an open work permit not tied to an employer, it does not provide arranged employment points for express entry. Now, one last point to make. If you are the principal applicant of a PGWP and would like to also apply for an open work permit for your spouse, you, as the principal applicant, need to prove that you are in a Tier 0 or 1 occupational code. That's usually a managerial or professional level job. Also, your PGWP must be issued for a 16-month period, so be careful that your passport doesn't expire in the next 16 months, or your spouse's open work permit application will be refused. I should also note that you could benefit from using an immigration services firm like Fragaman, as we help out with all parts of the journey, including PGWPs, making your immigration journey as clear and stress-free as possible. Thank you for watching. To learn more about the application process for each of these pathways, stay tuned for future videos. As we publish more videos on this topic, we will link to them in the description box and add them to the series playlist. Now, if you found this content helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more Fragaman content. To learn more about the firm or reach out for immigration services, visit fragaman.com and contact the Fragaman office closest to you.